Admiral Taesung stood on the bridge of his ship, the UNS Indomitable, staring at the screen before him. His hands gripped the railing tightly. The message from Earth had arrived moments ago, and it changed everything. For 40 years, humanity had been part of the Galactic Council. When the alien ships first arrived in 2247, humans thought they were lucky. The Council promised peace, technology, and a place among the stars. Earth joined eagerly, grateful to be accepted into galactic civilization. But the Council had rules. So many rules. Humans could only build certain types of ships. They could only settle on specific worlds. They could only mine certain resources. Every time humans wanted to expand, the Council said no. Every time humans wanted to defend themselves better, the Council said no. Taesung had accepted these limits. He believed in peace. He believed in cooperation. But today the Council had gone too far. "Sir, you need to see this," Commander Hana said, walking toward him. Her face was pale. She handed him a datapad, Decree 7 Alpha, the Council's latest order. All human colonies outside the solar system must be evacuated within 6 months. 400 million people. Their homes, their farms, their entire lives gone. The Council wanted those worlds for themselves. "They can't do this," Lieutenant Bora whispered from her station. She was young, still believing that the Council was fair and just. "They already did," Taesung replied quietly. Ambassador Hyun-woo had tried to protest. He stood before the Council, presenting Earth's case with dignity and reason. The Council listened politely. Then they ordered him arrested. They threw him in a cell like a criminal. Taesung looked at the star map on his screen. New Hanseong Colony glowed there, a blue dot in the darkness. His son Ji-hoon was stationed there as a lieutenant. 50,000 people called it home. Now the Council wanted them gone. "Sir, incoming transmission from New Hanseong," the communications officer said. Taesung pressed a button. The screen flickered. A man's face appeared, covered in blood and dirt. Behind him, buildings burned. "This is New Hanseong. Council ships are attacking. They're not waiting for evacuation, they're attacking now. We need..." The transmission cut off. Static filled the screen. For a long moment, nobody on the bridge spoke. They all knew what that meant. The Council wasn't planning to relocate the colonists. They were planning to kill them. Dr. Ji-won, the ship's chief science officer, broke the silence. "Admiral, I need to speak with you." "In private." They went to Taesung's office. Dr. Ji-won locked the door behind them. She looked nervous, which was unusual. Ji-won never looked nervous. "Sir, Earth Security Council just sent classified files. There's something you need to know." Something the Council doesn't know. She activated a hologram. Images appeared, weapons, ships, hidden facilities. "Project Prometheus," she said. "When Earth joined the Council, we promised to destroy our most dangerous weapons. We didn't." Taesung stared at the images. "Antimatter bombs, faster-than-light warships, particle beam satellites, weapons that could destroy entire fleets. We've been building them in secret for 40 years, Ji-won continued. Hidden in asteroid fields and remote stations. The Council thinks we're weak. They have no idea what we're capable of." "This is insane," Taesung said. "If the Council finds out, they already know we're weak enough to push around." Ji-won interrupted. "They're killing our people right now. The question is, are we going to let them?" Taesung thought about his son, about the screams in that transmission, about 400 million humans being forced from their homes or killed. "No," he said quietly. "No, we're not." Earth's government met in emergency session. Prime Minister Da-yun wanted surgical strikes, destroy the Council's main fleet, and force negotiations. General Wu Jin wanted total war, crush the Council completely. Taesung proposed something different. "We give them one chance," he said. "We tell them to reverse the decree. If they refuse, we show them what happens when you threaten humanity's children." Ambassador Hyun-woo, who had escaped his cell with help from alien allies, delivered the message personally. He stood before the Council one last time. "Reverse Decree 7 Alpha," he said. "You have 72 hours. The Council laughed. They actually laughed. The Krell commander, War Marshal Kreknor, stood and pointed at Hyun-woo. "Humanity is primitive," he said. "Weak. You will obey or you will be destroyed. We are executing all human ambassadors. New Hanseong will be bombarded from orbit. Learn your place." Hyun-woo looked the War Marshal in the eye. "You just made a terrible mistake." He turned and walked away. The countdown had begun. On the Indomitable, Taesung received confirmation. The council refused. They were preparing to kill everyone on New Hansung. He took a deep breath and pressed a button. All across human space, secret bases activated. Hidden weapons came online. Stealth ships revealed themselves. All units, Taesung said into the communication system. Operation Ragnarok is go. Show them what humans do when you threaten our families. The war had begun. The council's enforcement fleet surrounded New Hansung like wolves circling prey. 200 massive warships, each 1 kilometers long, blocked out the stars. Inside the colony, people huddled in shelters, praying for a miracle. Captain Yong Ho stood on the bridge of the UNS Retribution, watching the countdown timer. 30 seconds until emergence. His crew was silent, focused. They all knew what was at stake. All weapons charged, his tactical officer reported. Antimatter torpedoes ready. Good, Yong Ho said calmly. Remember, we're not here to negotiate. We're here to send a message. The timer hit 0. Space tore open like fabric being ripped. The human fleet emerged from slipspace directly behind the council ships. 50 vessels appeared in perfect formation, weapons already locked on targets. The council fleet tried to react, but they were too slow. Yong Ho gave the order, fire everything. Light filled the void. Antimatter torpedoes struck the first council ship. It didn't explode. It simply stopped existing. One moment, a massive warship. The next moment, nothing but particles spreading through space. The council fleet turned to fight back, but their weapons couldn't lock on. Human ships moved too fast, dodged too quickly. Advanced quantum computers predicted enemy fire patterns and moved the ships out of danger before shots were even fired. Within 20 minutes, half the council fleet was destroyed. The survivors tried to run, but hidden satellites activated across the system. The Eclipse Array, a network of particle beam weapons, fired invisible beams of pure energy. Council ships died without ever seeing what killed them. On New Hansung, colonists watched through telescopes as their enemy burned. Some cheered. Others cried. Everyone understood that nothing would ever be the same. But New Hansung was just one battle. Across the galaxy, humanity struck everywhere at once. Commander Hana led the attack on the Krell shipyards. These massive orbital facilities produced most of the Council's warships. They were protected by shields, defense platforms, and patrol fleets. The Krell thought they were invincible. They were wrong. Hana's ships carried relativistic kill vehicles. Huge chunks of metal accelerated to 90% of light speed. When they hit, the kinetic energy was devastating. The first shipyard shattered like glass. The second collapsed into itself. The third simply vanished in a cloud of debris. Target destroyed, Hana reported. No survivors. Meanwhile, Dr. Ji-won led a different kind of mission. Her team hacked into the Vex communication network. The Vex were crystalline beings who coordinated their entire civilization through quantum entanglement. Break their network and they couldn't organize their fleets. Ji-won was a genius with computers. Within an hour, she had infiltrated their systems. She didn't destroy the network, that would be obvious. Instead, she corrupted it. Now, when Vex commanders sent orders, their ships received different messages. Fleets moved to wrong locations. Attack orders became retreat orders. Chaos spread through the Vex military. The Thras Empire faced a different problem. Their species reproduced on special breeding worlds, protected deep inside their territory. Lieutenant Bora's squadrons blockaded these worlds, not attacking, just waiting. The message was clear. Surrender or your species dies out. The Lumini conquered was spared. Ambassador Hyunwoo had made a deal with their diplomat, Songra. If the Lumini stayed neutral, humanity wouldn't attack their people. Songra agreed. Some council members still had sense. Within 3 days, the council had lost 40% of their military strength. Ships destroyed, shipyards ruined, communications broken, breeding worlds threatened. Species that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years were suddenly losing to humans they had considered primitive. But victory had costs. The UNS Perseverance, defending a distant colony, was overwhelmed by a council counterattack. 800 crew members died. Among them was Ensign Tae-hyun, Lieutenant Bora's younger brother. When Bora received the news, she sat alone in her quarters for an hour. When she emerged, her eyes were red, but her face was hard. How many more ships are in range? She asked. 3 council cruisers, her tactical officer replied. Destroy them, she said coldly. No survivors. Admiral Tae-sung broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. His face appeared on every screen, every display, and every council system. "For 40 years we tried peace," he said. "We followed your rules. We accepted your authority. We asked only to live in freedom. You responded with threats and violence. You tried to take our homes. You killed our people. You thought we were weak," he paused, letting his words sink in. "You were wrong. We gave you a chance to step back. You chose war. Now you'll learn what happens when you threaten humanity. We're not stopping until you understand. Never again will you bully the weak. Never again will you steal what isn't yours. Never again will you threaten our children." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, council leaders watched in growing horror. They had started a war with an enemy they didn't understand. An enemy that had been preparing for this moment for 40 years. An enemy that was now showing the galaxy what human fury looked like. The Galactic Council met in emergency session on their fortress world of Nexus Prime. The massive chamber, usually filled with confident voices, now echoed with fear and anger. High Chancellor Vexiala, leader of the Vex Collective, slammed her crystalline fist on the podium. Light scattered from her body, a sign of extreme emotion in her species. "This is unacceptable," she shouted. "Humanity must be exterminated. Every last one of them." War Marshal Kreknor of the Krell stood slowly. His reptilian face was scarred from 100 battles. He had never known defeat. Until now. "Our losses are catastrophic," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "In 1 week we've lost 400 ships. 8 shipyards. Dozens of outposts. Humanity has weapons we didn't know existed. Technology we can't match. They fight with a brutality we've never seen." He displayed tactical reports. Council admirals watched recordings of human attacks. Ships appearing from nowhere. Weapons that ignored shields. Tactics that made no sense until it was too late. "They don't fight honorably," a Thras commander chittered. "They strike from hiding. They destroy retreat routes. They show no mercy. They fight to win," Songra of the Luminae said quietly. "Something we've forgotten how to do. We've been so powerful for so long that we forgot what happens when someone fights back." "Traitor," Vexala screamed at Songra. "You defend these animals?" "I state facts," Songra replied calmly. "We pushed them. They pushed back harder. Now we must decide, do we escalate or do we negotiate?" "We do not negotiate with primitives," Kreknor roared. But across council space other voices were rising. Minor species, oppressed for millennia, saw humanity's rebellion as a chance. The aquatic Yuldari seized their homeworld from Krell occupiers. The bird-like Soratai destroyed council monitoring stations. Revolution spread like fire. Ambassador Hyunwoo received secret messages from dozens of species. They wanted to help humanity. They wanted freedom. They wanted the council gone. "We're not alone anymore," he told Commander Hana during a secure call. "Half the galaxy is rising up." Hana smiled grimly. "Good. Let the council fight on every front. Let them see what happens when you oppress people for too long." But the council wasn't finished. Kreknor stood before the High Command and made an announcement that froze blood. "We're activating the Armada Eternal." Silence filled the chamber. Even Vexala looked shocked. The Armada Eternal was a fleet of ancient warships, kept in reserve for existential threats. 1,000 massive vessels, each armed with weapons banned even by council law. "That's genocide technology," Songra protested. "Viral bombs. Reality weapons. Psionic destroyers. You'll kill billions." "Humanity started this war," Kreknor said coldly. "We'll finish it. We're going to make an example that the entire galaxy will never forget. We're going to destroy Earth itself." Back on the Indomitable, Dr. Jiwan burst onto the bridge, her face pale. "Admiral, council fleet movements just changed. They're gathering at the Nexus system, pulling ships from everywhere." "How many?" Taesung asked. "All of them. Every available warship. They're forming the largest fleet in recorded history." She paused. "Sir, their trajectory leads to Sol. They're coming for Earth." The bridge went silent. Attacking colonies was one thing. But Earth? Humanity's homeworld with 8 billion people? Taesung felt ice in his stomach. "How long?" 15 days at maximum speed. 15 days to save Earth or watch it burn. Taesung called an emergency conference with Earth's leaders. Prime Minister Daun looked older than she had a week ago. "The war was aging everyone. We can pull all our forces back," General Wu Jin suggested. "Defend Earth with everything we have." "If we do that, we abandon our colonies," Commander Hana said from her ship. "The Council will slaughter them. If we don't, Earth dies," Wu Jin countered. Tae-sung made his decision. We split our forces. Half stays on offense, keeping the council scattered and desperate. Half returns to defend Earth, and we launch Operation Wildfire. What's Operation Wildfire? Da-yoon asked. Dr. Ji-won stepped forward. We steal the Genesis archive. Everyone stared at her. It's the council's most protected secret, she explained. Contains genetic and cultural data for every species they've encountered, including extinct ones, including records of their crimes. If we get it, we can expose them to the entire galaxy. It's suicide, Woo Jin said. The archive is on Vault 9, their most secure facility. We don't have a choice, Ji-won replied. We need something to break the council's authority. The archive is it. Lieutenant Bora volunteered immediately. I'm going with Dr. Ji-won. Bora, your brother just died, Tae-sung said gently. You don't have to. My brother died fighting them, Bora interrupted. I'm finishing what he started. Within hours, the team assembled. Dr. Ji-won, Lieutenant Bora, Major Sang-woo, and his Special Forces unit. They would infiltrate Vault 9 while the galaxy burned around them. Meanwhile, Tae-sung took half the fleet toward Earth. As he watched stars stream past his ship, he thought about his son Ji-hoon on New Hanseong. He thought about every human child playing on every colony world. The council wanted to take everything from humanity. They wanted to make humans afraid, obedient, broken. Instead, they had awakened something they couldn't control. They had shown humanity that peace only works when both sides want it. When one side wants conquest, the other side must be ready for war, and humanity was ready. Earth prepared for war like never before. Every orbital platform was upgraded with new weapons. The moon base activated massive railguns that could throw metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Mars factories worked day and night, building ammunition and defensive drones. The asteroid belt became a giant minefield, but 8 billion people couldn't evacuate in 15 days. Most would have to stay and hope the defenses held. Prime Minister Da-yoon made a broadcast to everyone on Earth. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed the fear they all felt. We're not running, she said. Humanity was born on this planet. If they want it, they'll have to take it from our dead hands. But we won't die alone. We'll make them pay for every inch. Across Earth, people prepared. Some built shelters. Some volunteered for defense forces. Some simply held their families close and waited. Meanwhile, Dr. Ji-won's team approached Vault 9. The archive planet was protected by weapons, shields, and AI defenders. Getting in should have been impossible. Should have wasn't good enough. Humans specialized in doing impossible things. Major Sang-woo's team used stolen Vex credentials to bypass the first security layer. Dr. Ji-won hacked the second layer by finding a flaw in their quantum encryption, a mathematical error the Council had missed for 10,000 years. They were arrogant, Ji-won muttered as she worked. Thought nobody could break their systems. They never imagined someone would try. Inside the archive, Lieutenant Bora led the way through massive halls filled with data crystals. Each crystal contained the complete history of a species, billions of years of life stored and forgotten. There, Ji-won said, pointing to a central terminal. The main database. She plugged in her equipment and started downloading. Files flooded into her system. Too many to read, too many to comprehend. But one file caught her attention. Extinction records, she read aloud. Oh no, what is it? Bora asked. Ji-won's hands shook as she opened the file. 87 species. The Council deliberately exterminated 87 species, not for attacking them, just for refusing to submit. Bora looked over her shoulder and saw the list. The Talvera, killed 3,000 years ago for refusing to give up their homeworld. The Xandri, sterilized by viral weapons for developing faster-than-light technology without permission. Species after species, destroyed for the crime of wanting freedom. We're not the first to rebel, Bora whispered. We're just the first to survive long enough to fight back. Then Ji-won found something else. Files labeled Project Prometheus Observation. Her blood went cold. They knew. The Council knew about our secret weapons program. For decades. What? Bora grabbed the data pad. If they knew, why didn't they stop us? The answer was in the files. The Council had discovered Project Prometheus 30 years ago. They debated shutting it down. Instead, they decided to let it continue. Why? Because it gave them an excuse. Let humanity build weapons. Let humanity feel strong. Then, when the time came, crush them completely. Use humanity as an example to every other species that might consider rebellion. We were always meant to die, Bora said, her voice empty. Everything. Joining the council, the treaties, the cooperation, it was all just leading to this. They were always planning to destroy us, alarms blared. AI defenders had detected them. Get that data. Major Sang-woo shouted, his team holding the doorway. We didn't come this far to fail. Ji-won worked frantically, copying everything she could. When the download finished, she set a virus in the archives system. If they couldn't take it home, at least they could damage it. The team fought their way back to their ship. 2 of Sang-woo's soldiers died holding the escape route, but they made it. The data was secure. Back near Earth, Admiral Tae-sung watched the approaching enemy fleet on his screens. The Armada Eternal had arrived at the edge of the solar system. 1,000 ancient warships, dark and terrible against the stars. War Marshal Kreknor sent a message. Humanity, your rebellion ends here. Surrender now and we'll let you live as servants. Keep fighting and we'll erase you from history. You have 1 hour to decide. Taesung's response was 3 words. Come and try. The Armada advanced. They moved slowly, confidently. They had fought for 10,000 years. They had conquered countless species. They believed they couldn't lose. The first battle happened near Jupiter. Human ships struck from behind the gas giant's moons, firing and retreating. They couldn't stop the Armada, but they slowed it. Every destroyed council ship was one less attacking Earth. By the time the Armada reached Mars, they had lost 50 ships. Not enough. They kept coming. Commander Hana, watching from her command ship near Saturn, made a decision. All units begin Operation Blackout. Cut their communications, separate their fleet, make them fight alone. Human electronic warfare ships activated. Jamming signals filled space. The Armada's ships suddenly couldn't talk to each other. Their perfect formation started breaking apart. Still they had numbers. Still they advanced. Earth loomed ahead, blue and beautiful and vulnerable. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky. Some could see flashes of light as battles raged in orbit. Some prayed. Some cried. Some simply watched and waited. This was it, the final test. Either humanity's defenses would hold, or everything would end. Admiral Tae-sung positioned his fleet between Earth and the Armada. Behind him, 8 billion people. In front, 1,000 warships hungry for blood. He opened a channel to his entire fleet. Remember New Hanseong? Remember why we fight. Not for glory, not for conquest. For our children, for everyone who can't fight. Today we show the Council what humans really are. The Armada fired first. The Battle of Earth had begun. Fire filled the space around Earth. Hundreds of ships fought and died in seconds. Energy weapons carved through metal. Missiles streaked between vessels like angry wasps. The void burned. Admiral Taesung's fleet was outnumbered 3-1, but they fought with desperate fury. Every ship knew what was at stake. Behind them, Earth glowed, beautiful and fragile and home. Target their command ships. Taesung ordered. Break their coordination. Human ships dove through the enemy formation, targeting the largest vessels. The Armada's strength was their organization, their ability to fight as one giant machine. Take away their leadership and they became just individual ships. But the Council had learned from earlier battles. They adapted. Their ships spread out, making it harder to hit multiple targets. They focused fire on human vessels, overwhelming shields through sheer numbers. The UNS Defiant exploded, taking 300 crew with it. The Seoul's Pride lost its engines and drifted helplessly. The New Beijing took a direct hit to its reactor and vanished in a ball of light. For every Council ship humanity destroyed, they lost one of their own. The math was brutal. Humanity would run out of ships before the Council did. On Earth's surface, people watched the orbital battle through telescopes and cameras. They saw ships dying. They saw the Armada getting closer. Fear spread through cities like a wave. Then Dr. Ji-won's ship burst out of hyperspace, running hot and fast. She broadcast on all frequencies, not just to humans, but to every species in the galaxy. People of the galaxy, I am Dr. Ji-won of Earth. I'm transmitting data from the Genesis archive. The Council has lied to you. For 50,000 years, they've claimed to bring peace. They've claimed to protect civilization. They've lied. She released the data. Every species with a receiver got it. The complete records of 87 extinct civilizations. Video recordings of Council warships sterilizing planets. documents planning systematic genocide, evidence of crimes that stretched back millennia. Across the galaxy, people saw the truth. The Council wasn't protecting anyone. They were controlling everyone. Anyone who refused to obey was destroyed. War Marshal Kreknor's face appeared on Taesung's screen, twisted with rage. You dare expose our secrets? You'll die for this. The whole galaxy is watching now, Taesung replied calmly. They know what you are. They know what you've done. You can't hide anymore. But Jiwan had done more than expose the Council. Hidden in that data transmission was a virus, a sophisticated program designed by her team during the escape from Vault 9. It infiltrated the Armada's communication network, spreading from ship to ship. Suddenly, 50 Council warships found their weapon systems locked. Their shields flickered and died. Their engines went offline. They drifted in space, helpless. All ships, Taesung shouted. Target the disabled vessels. Fire everything. Human ships pivoted, pouring fire into the helpless Council ships. Antimatter torpedoes struck home. Particle beams sliced through unshielded hulls. In minutes, 50 of the Armada's most powerful vessels became expanding clouds of debris. Kreknor roared orders, trying to regain control. But panic was spreading through his fleet. Ships broke formation. Some tried to retreat. Others pushed forward recklessly, seeking revenge. The organized Armada became a mob. And mobs could be beaten. Luna's mass drivers activated, launching tungsten rods the size of telephone poles at relativistic speeds. These simple metal projectiles hit with the force of nuclear weapons. Council ships shattered under the impact. Mars orbital platforms added their fire. Earth's defensive satellites emerged from hiding, surrounding the Armada in a web of weapons. The asteroid belt mines activated, destroying any ship that got too close. The battle raged for 36 hours. Crew fought past exhaustion. Ships ran dry on ammunition and resorted to ramming attacks. The void around Earth became a graveyard. Slowly, impossibly, humanity gained ground. The Armada's numbers dropped. 800 ships. 700. 600. War Marshal Kreknor, watching his ancient fleet disintegrate, made a choice. All ships, retreat! Retreat to Council space. But Taesung remembered New Hanseong. He remembered the transmission that cut off mid-scream. He remembered his son's last message. No, he said coldly. They came here to destroy us. They don't get to leave alive. All ships pursue. Destroy them. The remaining human fleet chased the fleeing Armada. They hunted them through the asteroid belt. They caught them at Jupiter and tore them apart. They pursued them to the edge of the solar system and killed every ship they found. Only 200 Council vessels escaped. 800 died. War Marshal Kreknor's flagship, the Dominion's Fist, was captured when human boarding teams stormed it. The great War Marshal was dragged onto the Indomitable's bridge in chains. He looked at Taesung with hatred.
You think you've won?
The Council has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. You've just made yourselves targets. Taesung stepped close to the War Marshal. His voice was soft but hard as steel. You came to our home. You tried to kill our families. You thought we'd surrender or die. You were wrong. Now the whole galaxy knows what happened here. They know you can be beaten. They know you're not invincible. He gestured to the screen showing the battlefield. You wanted to make an example of us. Congratulations, you did. Now every oppressed species in the galaxy knows that the Council can bleed, can fail, can lose. Kreknor said nothing. There was nothing to say. Earth had survived. Humanity had won. But the war wasn't over. It was only beginning. The victory at Earth changed everything. News spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The mighty Galactic Council, rulers for 10,000 years, had been beaten by a species they called primitive. Rebellions exploded everywhere. On 100 worlds, oppressed species rose up against their Council overlords. Some won, some lost, but all of them tried, inspired by humanity's defiance. The Council's authority crumbled like sand in water. Commander Hana seized the moment. Her fleet, still operating deep in Council territory, launched Operation Prometheus Endgame. They activated singularity generators, devices that created tiny black holes, near the 4 Council homeworlds. These black holes weren't big enough to destroy planets, but they were big enough to destroy everything in orbit. Shipyards, defense stations, communication hubs, trade centers, all consumed by hungry gravity. The Krell Dominion lost its entire space-based economy in an hour. The Vex Collective's quantum network collapsed as relay stations were torn apart. The Thras Empire's breeding stations vanished, threatening their species with extinction. Only the Lumini were spared. Ambassador Hyun-woo had promised Songra that neutrality would be rewarded. Humanity kept its promises. The Council's military strength died in days. Their economy collapsed in weeks. Species that had served them for millennia now turned against them. The Empire was breaking. But victory had costs that numbers couldn't measure. Admiral Tae-sung walked through the ruins of New Hanseong, the colony where everything started. Buildings were being rebuilt. People were returning home. But a memorial wall stood in the central square, covered with names of the dead. He found his son's name carved in the stone. Lieutenant Ji-hoon, age 24, killed defending civilian evacuations. Tae-sung placed his hand on the cold stone and finally let himself cry. He had won the war, but his son would never see the peace. On Earth, hospitals overflowed with wounded. Cities that took hits from orbital debris lay in ruins. Millions were dead. Millions more would carry scars forever. Prime Minister Daeun visited these hospitals, talking to soldiers and civilians. Each bed held someone who had sacrificed for humanity's freedom. She made herself look at every wound, every missing limb, every grief-stricken face. This was the price of defiance. In one bed lay a young girl, maybe 10 years old. Burns covered half her face. Her parents died when a piece of a destroyed ship crashed into their home. Was it worth it? The girl asked Daeun. All this pain? Daeun wanted to say yes immediately, but she owed the child honesty. I don't know, she said quietly. We fought because we had to, because the alternative was slavery or death. But you're right to ask. War should never be the first choice, only the last one. Meanwhile, Commander Bora was building something new, the Free Species Coalition. Dozens of formerly oppressed civilizations joined. The Yuldari, freed from Krell occupation. The Soratai, reclaiming their independence. Species humanity had never heard of, all united by one thing. They refused to bow anymore. We're not trying to replace the Council, Bora told the first coalition assembly. We're trying to build something better. No species in charge, no masters and servants, just equals working together. Some believed her, others were skeptical. Trust once broken took time to rebuild. The Council's remnants fled to Nexus Prime, their fortress world. High Chancellor Vexala broadcasted one final message. Humanity calls this liberation, she said, her crystalline body dim with exhaustion. I call it chaos. We built civilization in this galaxy. We brought order. We protected the weak. Now you've destroyed that. When the next crisis comes, and it will, you'll beg for the Council's strength. But her words rang hollow. Everyone had seen the Genesis archive. Everyone knew about the 87 extinct species. The Council hadn't protected the weak. They had become the strong preying on the weak. Ambassador Hyun-woo responded with his own broadcast. You had 10,000 years to be better, to truly protect people, to create justice. Instead, you created fear. You maintained order through threats. You built an empire on the bones of those who dared to disagree. He paused, letting his words settle. You're right that challenges will come. The galaxy is dangerous, but we'll face those dangers together as equals, not with one species ruling and others obeying. Real peace doesn't come from fear. It comes from respect. Vexala made one last desperate move. She activated the Stellar Forge, an ancient weapon buried in Nexus Prime. This device could destabilize stars, causing them to go supernova. 20 inhabited systems were within range. Attack us, she threatened, and I'll kill billions. You claim to care about life, prove it. Leave us alone or watch worlds burn. Dr. Ji-won heard this threat and smiled. During the Genesis Archive mission, she had planted more than just a virus. She had installed countermeasures in Nexus Prime's main computer, just in case the Council tried something desperate. When Vexala activated the Stellar Forge, Ji-won's program activated too. The weapon powered up, then immediately overloaded. The feedback destroyed the forge itself and knocked out Nexus Prime's entire power grid. The lights went out on the Council's last stronghold. Their final weapon was gone. They had nothing left but pride. It's over, Ambassador Hyun-woo said softly, watching the reports. They're finished. But finishing the Council was just the beginning. Now humanity and its allies had to build something better, something that would last, something worth the sacrifices they had made. The easy part was over. The hard part was just starting. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Ambassador Hyunwoo stood before the first meeting of the Galactic Federation. Representatives from 140 species filled the massive hall, each one equal to the others. "We gather not as conquerors and conquered," he said, "but as survivors who chose freedom over submission." The Council ruled through fear. "We will govern through respect." The Federation's founding principles were simple. No species could dominate others. All conflicts would be resolved through dialogue first, force only as a last resort. Technology and resources would be shared. And most importantly, any species could leave the Federation whenever they wished. This wasn't a prison pretending to be paradise. Not everyone trusted humanity. Too many remembered how quickly humans went from peace-loving to ruthless warriors. Some worried humanity would become the next council. "We're watching you," a Krell delegate said bluntly. "You say you want equality. We've heard promises before." "Then hold us accountable," Commander Hana replied. She was now the Federation's first military coordinator, in charge of integrating everyone's defenses. "If we break our word, call us out. If we abuse power, stop us. That's how this works. We're not perfect. We'll make mistakes, but we'll own them." The hardest part was dealing with the former council species. The Krell, Vex, and Thras had lost everything: power, wealth, authority. Some wanted revenge against humanity. Others just wanted to survive. The Thras faced the worst crisis. With their breeding stations destroyed, their species was slowly dying out. They had maybe 50 years before extinction. Dr. G1 led a team of scientists, human, Yuldari, and even some sympathetic Vex, to solve the problem. They worked for months studying Thras biology, developing new breeding technologies, finding ways to save the species. When they succeeded, the Thras Queen came personally to thank them. "You had every reason to let us die," she said, her compound eyes reflecting rainbow colors. "We supported the council. We helped oppress others, yet you saved us anyway." Jiwon smiled tiredly. "Because extinction is wrong. No matter what you did, your children deserve a future. That's what separates us from the council. We remember mercy." The council's leaders remained in exile on a remote world. No power, no authority, just each other and their memories. War Marshal Kreknor died there, still bitter and unrepentant. High Chancellor Vexala lived longer, gradually accepting that her empire was gone forever. Before she died, she sent one message to Hyunwoo. "You were right. We forgot why we built the council. It was supposed to protect the weak. Somewhere along the way, we became what we originally fought against. Don't make our mistake." Rebuilding took years. Earth's damaged cities were reconstructed. The colonies thrived again. New Hanseong became a symbol of survival, a place where the war started and peace took root. Admiral Taesung retired from military service. He spent his remaining years helping people, building schools, supporting orphanages filled with children who lost parents in the war. He never forgot the cost of victory. One day, a young Krell woman approached him at his son's memorial. She was maybe 20 with bright eyes and nervous energy. "I learned about your son in school," she said shyly, "about how he died protecting evacuees. I want you to know I'm studying to be a doctor because of him, because of what he did. I want to save people too." Taesung looked at this young alien, a member of the species that had tried to destroy humanity, and he smiled. He would have liked that. Lieutenant Bora, now Commander Bora, led exploration missions into unknown space. Her ship, the Federation Discovery, made first contact with 12 new species. Each one was welcomed as an equal, given the choice to join or remain independent. No threats, no demands, just an open hand of friendship. Project Prometheus was decommissioned. The secret weapons were dismantled or converted to peaceful purposes. The antimatter bombs became fuel for space stations. The relativistic kill vehicles became asteroid mining equipment. The singularity generators powered scientific research. "We built these weapons because we were afraid," Prime Minister Dayun said at the decommissioning ceremony. "We used them because we had no choice. Now we put them away hoping we never need them again. But we remember how to build them. And if anyone threatens peace the way the Council did, we'll remember how to fight." That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not weapons, not technology, but the memory that tyranny can be defeated, that the strong don't always win, that sometimes the desperate and determined can change everything. 25 years after the war, old Ambassador Hyunwoo prepared to retire. At his farewell ceremony, representatives from 217 species gathered. The Federation had grown. "We fought a war we didn't want," he said to them. "We won a victory that cost everything. We built a peace that's still imperfect, but we built it together, and that's worth all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the loss." He looked at the crowd. Humans, Krell, Vex, Thras, Lumini, and countless others, all working together. The Council ruled for 10,000 years. "We've barely started, but I believe in us, not because we're perfect, because we learned from our mistakes and theirs. The galaxy would face new challenges, new threats, new crises, but it would face them as free species, standing together, remembering the cost of freedom and the price of forgetting mercy." The Council had overstepped the boundary. Humanity unleashed its fury, and together they built something better from the ashes. The galaxy would never be the same.